Well, good morning and welcome to Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV Big Fox. I'm your host, Frank Aiken. We are broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio, as always. So thank you so much for joining us. We got a lot to cover this morning. We got some breaking news. Then we're going to get to some things, as I say in the past, that we can't really segue through, but I think that are still very important to note. But let's get right to it. 2 U.S. Navy destroyers transited the Strait of Hormuz under Iranian fire yesterday as the vessels came under a barrage of small boats, missiles, and drones, according to reports. The USS Truxtun and USS Mason were backed by fighter aircrafts and AH-64 Apache helicopters during the encounter, with officials describing it as a sustained barrage, according to CBS. Despite the attack, neither of the destroyers were impacted, with forces intercepting or deterring each threat. So just bringing that to you. By the way, I didn't even think of this. Happy Cinco de Mayo. Always seems like we're celebrating something here on Frankly Speaking. We do appreciate you joining us on Cinco de Mayo. Don't get started too early. An update on former New York City Mayor Rudy Giuliani. He is breathing on his own after being taken off of a ventilator, according to his doctor. Yes, according to his doctor, adding he has 9 lives following a dramatic turnaround from a dire condition. It actually got so bad, I understand that they actually read him his last rites. Dr. Maria Ryan told Fox News that Giuliani began feeling ill after returning from a trip from Paris, with his breathing deteriorating to the point that he required hospitalization and being placed on a ventilator. Ryan said his condition turned critical, prompting a priest to be called in to his bedside to perform last rites. By Tuesday, however, his condition had improved enough for doctors to remove him from the ventilator. He is now breathing independently and is able to speak, though he remains in critical but stable condition. Dr. Ryan said he's a fighter. The way he was yesterday in such a critical condition, he did have a priest come anoint him. And all the prayers from around, it's like a miracle. This guy's got 9 lives. Today, he's doing much better. He is expected to make a full recovery. A spokesperson for Giuliani also pointed to his health history following the September 11, 2001 terrorist attacks, where he's exposed to debris while responding at Ground Zero, later leading to a diagnosis of restrictive airway disease. Ted Goodman, in a video shared on X, said that Giuliani is now breathing on his own and remains in critical but stable condition. Mayor Rudy Giuliani is the ultimate fighter. So great news coming out about Mayor Giuliani doing much better. Yesterday, the U.S. Secret Service announced that an individual was shot near the White House. I understand there was a business meeting with Trump, or a business, not meeting isn't the right term, but I guess meeting with various business owners. The White House was put on lockdown briefly after reports that there were gunshots near the complex. The spokesperson for the agency said U.S. Secret Service personnel are on the scene of an officer-involved shooting at 15th Street and Independence Avenue in Washington. The incident resulted from a confrontation between an armed individual and Secret Service police. Later, at a press conference, Secret Service Deputy Director Matthew Quinn noted that agents first identified the suspect after noticing a visual print of a firearm. When approached by uniformed agents, the suspect attempted to run away while opening fire towards the officers. A juvenile bystander was hit in the crossfire. A reporter with ABC 7 in Washington said the adult male who was shot was conscious and breathing at the hospital. The location of the shooting is across the National Mall, about a mile from the White House building. The White House was put on lockdown after reports that there were gunfire near the complex. The location of the shooting is, as I mentioned, quite a ways away. Law enforcement taped off an area would be a better way of putting that, just south of the White House grounds on Monday afternoon after a Secret Service agent shot an individual. So there you are. There's your updates. Okay, at I guess local breaking news, a federal grand jury has indicted 6 upstate New Yorkers accused of stealing U.S. Treasury tax refund checks and using fake identities to cash them at financial institutions across New York and Pennsylvania. They were all from Buffalo. You had Jeffrey Fleischer, 36, Crystal Velez, 36, Blaine Webster, 40, Reginald Seals, 47, Johnny Ray McDuffie, 36, and Anthony Zarilla, 28, from the Buffalo area. Each defendant faces charges of conspiracy to commit bank fraud and aggravated identity theft, carrying a mandatory minimum penalty of 2 years in prison and a maximum of 30 years. I mentioned this. Well, let me tell you exactly what they did. Between August of 2023 and May of 2024, the defendants allegedly obtained stolen Treasury tax refund checks made payable to other people. Then they used fraudulent IDs to open bank accounts in the names of the check recipients, deposited the stolen checks, and withdrew or transferred the funds for their own benefits. More than 12 victims from New York, Florida, New Jersey, Virginia, Connecticut, and Oregon had their identities stolen in the fraud, which resulted in estimated losses totaling more than $1.3 million. I mention this because the 10 financial institutions that were targeted, including Northwest Bank, Evans Bank, Good Neighbors Credit Union, Surview Credit Union, Sweet Home Federal Credit Union, Erie Federal Credit Union, here we go, Corning Credit Union, Greater Niagara Federal Credit Union, Cornerstone Community Federal Credit Union, and High Point Federal Credit Union. The accounts were opened at branches in Buffalo, Amherst, Gettsville, Niagara Falls, get this, Painted Post, and Corning, as well as one in Erie, Pennsylvania. So I mentioned that as a local update you may not have heard elsewhere. Also, if any of you are watching and happened to visit the town of Groton in Tompkins County this weekend and purchased a lotto ticket, could you contact me immediately? A $9.8 million winning ticket was sold at a Speedway gas station at 202 Main Street in Groton in Tompkins County. The ticket matched all 6 numbers, 8, 13, 28, 35, 49, and 54. The winner can choose to receive an estimated cash value of $5.1 million. So if you happen to be in the Groton area and you haven't checked your lotto ticket yet, may I highly recommend that you do so. Okay, I've got a couple things that are going to pique your interest. I'm going to ask you questions about here in just a little bit, but this is sort of an update. It's by Daniel McCarthy, and I thought it was an important way to start the program before we get into kind of the other breaking news of the day. And Daniel McCarthy says there's a new silent generation, that American students are choosing self-censorship. And we've talked about this in the past when it comes specifically to conservative students. And that's why Turning Point USA and what Charlie Kirk did was so remarkable. Because so many people, especially on college campuses, but also in high school, they're afraid to express their conservative values for being ostracized, not just by their peers, but also by their teachers, where you could be talking about your grades being affected if you said something conservative. Well, Daniel McCarthy says American teenagers may be doing themselves what the Chinese Communist state does to its citizens. An Ivy League professor, an old-fashioned liberal who actually cares about free speech, recently warned Daniel McCarthy about what's happening in classrooms like his. He encourages class discussions of the great books he teaches in class, but students are reluctant to speak. Not because they're afraid of the professor, mind you, but because they fear each other. If you say something controversial, next thing you know, it spreads around campus. You're no longer invited to parties. You're sitting alone in the cafeteria. Communist regimes have tried to stamp out dissent for more than a century. Tyrants and totalitarians have always tried to sow suspicion among their subjects, turning friends, neighbors, and even family members into informers against anyone who won't conform to the party line. And we're seeing this in Iran in real time. That's the scenario in George Orwell's dystopian classic, 1984. And it's the intention behind China's insidious social credit system that's in effect today. What Orwell never imagined, though, and isn't it sad that we're in a time in America where if Orwell had written about the self-censorship, people would have said he went too far. But young men and women in a free society here in the United States, they will one day willingly impose political correctness on their peers and use the 21st century's decentralized social media to do it. Students, according to that Ivy League professor, are afraid to be recorded on their classmates' cell phones talking about politics and political philosophy, which happens to be what that teacher, the subject that he teaches, and don't want to disagree with their fellow students about anything because the person they're arguing with might belong to a, quote, disadvantaged group. So you're walking on eggshells. Even though all that money you're paying to be at an Ivy League school, you're walking on eggshells, terrified that your student may be offended by what you say, your fellow student, and they record it and then put you on blast and try to destroy you, your life, your future. It's not only what you say that's dangerous, but who you say it to. A young man getting into an argument with a young woman or a white student with a black student is not a good look on social media, and a classroom conversation runs the risk of sparking an online inquisition. Conservative students, who often have to face ostracism for their dissenting views, might be less intimidated than liberals and progressives who aren't used to not fitting in. Yes, it's actually, there's some conservatives, don't get me wrong, but it's actually the far left that is scared of the far left. They know, and we've seen it a million times. They eat their own, they destroy their own. We've seen it on college campuses. We've seen it in the political realm, where even though you're a 99.9% good liberal, because that 0.1% where you disagree with another fellow liberal, they will try and often succeed in destroying you. But all too many liberals have been conditioned from a young age, both at home and in school, to believe that good faith argument about serious subjects is inherently offensive. You might hurt the feelings of the person you're arguing with. And if you recall at that time, when this first started coming to light, we were told that saying something, these microaggressions, saying something you may not have even meant to say in an offensive way, but they took offense to it, is akin to you punching them in the face. So they have a right to get violent with you. That was the argument at the beginning of this, and it's only grown. But that if you say something that I don't like, that's no different than you physically attacking me. So therefore, I have a right to actually physically attack you. I know it makes no sense. I'm just telling you what the rules of the game are here. Better to remain silent, even if the professor urges you to speak up. Communists in the 20th century used very heavy-handed tactics to punish dissidents. But the more groups like the Independent, Catholic-inspired labor unions of Poland's Solidarity movement were harassed, the more they resisted. What's terrifying about this new self-imposed social control here in the United States is that it's more effective using less coercion and more decentralized techniques. And the effect is a kind of brainwashing, no less than what Orwell's protagonist, Winston Smith, suffers in room 101 of the Ministry of Love. Once young men and women get used to censoring themselves and their defensive crouch becomes permanent, they don't need to be punished anymore. Their thought crimes will have been stopped before they can begin. This American style, and again, if you're just joining us, this is Daniel McCarthy. The American style social credit system is what happens of when pervasive technology combines with an ideology that claims to be about compassion and tolerance, but that really uses those noble sounding principles as a pretext for enforcing submission. And that's what we've talked about in the past. Those that claim the mantle of tolerance are the least tolerant. And they force others into submission. That part Orwell did not anticipate, or that part Orwell did anticipate. There's a reason Big Brother's Inquisition is called the Ministry of Love. Anecdotes aren't data. Maybe the professor has just had an unusually passive set of students for the past 10 to 15 years. Yet plenty of other indicators support what he's telling him. A study published in Science last month by researchers at Stanford University, for example, found 1/3 of American teens prefer turning to AI for serious conversations rather than engaging with another human being. 1/3 would rather speak with AI because then they can maybe, in their mind, have an actual serious conversation. This was a study of artificial intelligence people-pleasing bias. It tells users what they want to hear. It doesn't argue, contradict, or hurt anyone's feelings, even when users engage in unethical, illegal, or harmful behaviors, the study noted. The very feature that causes harm also drives engagement. That might be said about today's liberalism as an ideology too. It may sound agreeable and nice, but adopting it leads to harm, including the psychological damage that politically left-wing people report experiencing at a much higher level than conservatives. Fragility, bitterness, timidity, these are the fruits of the orthodoxy America's elite has embraced, and which its children enforce against outliers with vigilante zeal. The victim mentality has become an excuse for bullying. And rather than confront it, many young people find it easier to make friends with an AI chatbot than with other individuals. Social isolation is socialism's greatest ally. While the kinds of community the communists could never stamp out, not without the power of Soviet tyranny, are the secret to freedom's survival. Something as simple as a robust debate in class strikes a blow against Big Brother and against Little Brother's snooping cell phone. I thought that was a fantastic piece by Daniel McCarthy. I wanted to pass it along to you because we've talked about the education system and the damage it has wrought, and it's only getting worse. So I wanted to pass it along to you and get your take on it. But we do have some, I know I'm running late. We do have a few things I'm really curious about getting your opinion on. We're also going to tell you a few things here about politics in general. A couple New York State updates. What extender are we up to? 8th? 9th extender on the New York State budget? 9th. Just past the 9th extender. Yes, the New York State budget was due on April the 1st, as it is noted. Today is Cinco de Mayo, May the 5th. Yet no New York State budget. All right, we got the waves coming in. Let's get some comments coming in, and we'll take a short break. Stay with us. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking after this.
What better way to start or end every day than relaxing in your very own Hesselson's hot tub? Massage therapy, relaxation, stress reliever, pain management, soothing muscles, or just spending time with a loved one. Hot water therapy really does make every day better. Hesselson's has been a part of this great community for over 70 years, still being locally owned and operated. So make the drive to Hesselson's and start making your path to a better life today. And after 70 years, it's still fun to poke in the corners at Hesselson's.
When it's a home improvement, Horseheads Do-It Center has you covered. Family-owned, locally trusted, and packed with everything you need for any project. From top-quality tools to kitchen and bath essentials, we make it easy. Competitive prices, expert advice, friendly service. Visit us at 124 North Main Street or online at doitbest.com/horseheads today.
Every year, millions fly with us at Allegiant because together, we go places. We see old friends and try new things. We laugh. We really like to laugh. And reconnect. We remember. And we wander, which leads to wonder. From how we go to where we go to what we do when we get there, we go further together.
I'm meteorologist Brandon Weathers. Temperatures will be on the warm side today briefly, then a cold front rolls through, but 75 before that happens. A chance for showers and thunderstorms ahead of the approaching front. It sweeps the area through the evening, and then tonight will still be mild in mid and upper 40s, some low 50s in the warm spots, but by Wednesday, temperatures are below average by about 10 degrees. After that, we're pretty cool the rest of the forecast.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back, broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio here on Marcus Street in Corning. A great comment from a viewer. Good morning. Well, good morning. Whatever happened to sticks and stones will break my bones, but names will never hurt me. So I have to ask, where does the law stand on the philosophy that if you say something that I don't agree with or like, I can physically attack you? It is, I do not recommend it. It is still very much against the law. But that was the argument at the time, that it was no different than you physically attacking someone. If you said, and it didn't even have to be you being confrontational. It could be a microaggression, meaning you said something you didn't know you were saying that was offensive, and they could attack you. It was happening on a regular basis. Then they went to the extreme of, okay, so you can attack someone for saying something you don't like, but then if you're silent, if you don't agree with them 100% and support their cause and go out and protest with them, silence is violence. You recall that argument, that if you don't agree with them 100%, you are getting violent with them as well, that you are a horrible human being that deserves to be attacked. And sadly, we saw that on college campuses for, almost a decade now. Unfortunately, for the whole decade, but more recently against specifically Jewish students and faculty. So no, it is not legal to punch someone who says something you don't like. It's not legal. But that does not stop, as we see with the violence and destruction at these protests, that does not stop them. All right, a couple questions for you here before we get into some of the nitty-gritty. Co-host Simone Sanders of MS Now's The Weeknight. She made a startling claim yesterday. Co-host Michael Steele said Donald Trump's increasingly unhinged behavior is sparking fears about his mental fitness and misplaced priorities as the U.S. is engaged in war with Iran. Just this weekend, Trump posted online 11 times in 42 minutes. Folks, that's a post every 3.8 minutes he's president. The posts range from bizarre eye images, including one showing Trump and other officials floating in the D.C. reflecting pool. That's when Sanders said, "The president is not okay. We kind of laugh, but you got to laugh to keep from crying. Some people that I talk to who, still have relationships with this White House and within the Republican Party apparatus because they want to keep their jobs. They say, I don't agree with some of these things, but he's funny. There are people that didn't vote for him that have no relationship with it that are like, oh, he's hilarious. And then there's other people that are like, well, I don't know if he's okay, but he is doing stuff. The president is not okay. He seems off." Do you think the president seems off? That's my question. Do you agree with Simone Sanders? Also, do you agree, Adam Kissinger, remember him? He was the mainstream media's favorite Republican for a while because his whole end of his career was nothing but bashing Trump. And that's why now he is on MSN Now, which used to be MSNBC. And this is the question I want to ask for you, if you agree with him. Because I know out there we have a lot of Trump supporters. Kissinger said, part of it's like, hey, we told you so, right? Because that's a very weak debate tactic when they don't like a president from the beginning, or at a point presidential candidate. Then that president gets in, and both parties do this to an extent. They say, see, told you so. See, we were right. Well, what? Much of this is what we voted for. So I'm not really sure that kind of cocky attitude to try to act as if you're more intelligent than everyone. This is why a lot of people ended up not liking Adam Kissinger. But anyway, I'll continue. But that I also still am heartbroken at the number of people that are told every day by same news organizations that didn't cover the January 6th hearing, by the way, on purpose, that everything's fine, everything's great, Iran is won. And so there's people out there that still don't know. And I think the tough thing for me in the aftermath has been anything except I just feel that I feel bad for the people that are being misled down this path. Okay. Keep in mind, Adam Kissinger is now speaking about you, Trump supporters, for being misled down this path. He's on MS Now and has the audacity to say that. MS Now has lied to their viewers and have pushed conspiracy theories nonstop for over a decade about Trump, and nothing's come to fruition. And it's why their ratings are in the toilet, why they had to change their name and they got sold off, because people were sick of their lies. But I'll continue. But I guarantee you something, okay? This is the arrogance and cockiness of Adam Kissinger. I guarantee you something, and I know this. In 5 or 10 years, there won't be a single person left in this country that will ever admit to supporting Donald Trump, except for those that have their stuff all over Twitter. Because I think the speed of which he's spiraling, I mean, we're a year and a half into this. The speed at which he's spiraling, I think is just going to increase. And eventually people are going to be like, yeah, we've had enough. So that's my question before we take our next break. I know I'm running late this morning because we're having great conversations. So in 10 to 15 years, do you believe, because Adam Kissinger guarantees it, 10 to 15 years, no one will admit to have supporting and voting for Donald J. Trump. Well, they may have an opportunity to talk about it in real time, because did you see what Trump said yesterday? Trump said that he may leave office in 8 or 9 years from now. So Adam Kissinger may have set the bar a little too low. When I get out of office, let's say 8 or 9 years from now, I'll be able to use it. I'll be able to use it myself, which is a business tax deduction for new facilities. This is the kind of stuff that drives the media crazy. So Adam Kissinger says no one will support him or admit to it had supporting him. Why am I saying that so strange? Have supported him in the past. No one will admit it. In 5 to 10 years, Trump, not in relation. No one's watching Adam Kissinger. No one cares. But just happened to say that same day that, when I leave the White House in 8 or 9 years, we got a couple of things. I see a lot of comments coming in. Keep them coming in. And we'll be right back with Frankly Speaking after this.
To the me I used to be, before talking to 988.
I felt alone.
I thought seeing hard things was just part of the job. I thought that having a bad day at work meant I was failing. But then I connected with someone at 988.
A real person texted back. Someone listened without judgment.
Now I know. Now I know it's okay to let someone help me too.
And I'm stronger than I thought.
We hear you. Call, text, or chat 988.
I had to pack up all my things. I had to leave my home. And I never knew where I was going next. It felt like I never even had a say. But then you came along.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you. Learn how you can help at nationalcasagal.org.
Value days are here, and our prices are lower than ever. Stop by your neighborhood value home centers and spring into savings. Save over 35% on Rust-Oleum 2X spray paint and primer, only $4.97. Save up to 30% on all Varathane wood care products. Triple thick polyurethane is only $18.97. This spring, come to Value, your hometown home center.
Value for the do-it-yourselfer. In you.
Digio is the fastest growing form of advertising today. And with hyper-targeting, your marketing dollars can be more efficient than ever. Join WYDC and New Logic Marketing for a digital video strategy seminar May 19th and 20th with sessions from 8 to 9 a.m. and 12 to 1 p.m. at the Radisson in Corning. You'll learn what drives results and how to make video a powerful part of your overall marketing strategy. Join us May 19th for an expert look at digital video and learn what works from experts.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back, broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio. A lot of great comments coming in. One of the things that we asked, if you're just joining us, Adam Kissinger says that in 5 to 10 years, no one will admit to having supported President Trump. Okay, let's go to some viewer comments. Mark writes in, Trump is fine. He is just Trump. He also stated he will not lose the war. He doesn't lose. Yes, this whole overhype, it's why the media has no credibility any longer, because they hid and covered up for Biden for 4 years when we saw that in real time. And then now they want to laser-like focus on a guy who does nothing but speak to the public nonstop. So we could see, before when we saw with our eyes how bad Biden was and said, no, you're wrong. Now they're doing the same thing with, hey, Trump seems okay to me. I mean, he seems like a very busy guy. I don't think I could keep up with his schedule. Nope. Never mind what your lying eyes are telling you. Continuing. Good morning, Frank. Well, good morning to you. Thank you for starting yesterday's show with Sasquatch updates. It was my birthday, and that was a great way to start it. Keep up the great work. Well, happy belated birthday. Thank you very much. Thank you for the kind words. Yes, I know the Sasquatch updates are always a big hit. There has been a lot of sightings in Ohio. Notice that all the quotes always come from some, like, quote-unquote leading expert in some Bigfoot search community, though. Okay, continuing. Different viewer. I don't see any reason to question President Trump's mental acuity. These so-called reporters and Trump haters, I believe that they are the ones whose mental acuity is questionable. And in 1 year and 20 years, I'll be proud to say that I supported the greatest president this country has ever known. Thank you very much. Comment from a different viewer. In 10 years, the Biden administration will be exposed as a sham. The Trump administration will be admired for making America and the world Great again. Thank you for that. And on a completely different note, but I think one that's very important, I really appreciate the viewer who sent this in, who said good morning, and I say good morning to you. With the big race coming this weekend, of course, NASCAR, Watkins Glen, the whole weekend, we're going to probably have a couple guests, but nothing set in stone, but to promote it. I'm a little discouraged by the condition of one of the roads that is heavily used by racing teams and fans, Meads Creek Road, which goes between Cooper's Plains and Watkins Glen, of course. I'm very familiar with Meads Creek Road and that drive, kind of we always call the back way to Watkins Glen. It is in horrible condition for several miles near Monterey. Unless there's some serious repair work planned within the next few days, it will not be a good look for the area. As it is now, vehicles would need to reduce speed to a gentle roll in 4 or 5 locations, and if they don't, you'll need dental work and suspension parts. If repairs are planned, they're cutting it close. I have not heard anything about repairs being planned. That's not to say there isn't, but a lot of times there's press releases on things like that. That's unfortunate. I haven't taken that way in quite a while, but that is discouraging to hear. That is the preferred route, in my opinion, from Cooper's Plains. Everybody calls it Cooper's around here. Cooper's Plains and Watkins Glen, Meads Creek Road. Well, thank you for bringing that to our attention. And if anybody has any insider info on that, would like to comment on that. And also, I asked the question, how many of you are attending this weekend? Going to go up to the races? Are you going to watch it from the comfort of your own home? Are you not going to watch it all? Your thoughts on it. Did you hear, well, just because we were talking about small businesses and the pride that many have, even if Adam Kissinger thinks that this will not last, the pride that people have in voting for Trump. Rick Harrison, do you remember that name? He was in that very popular TV program, Pawn Stars, where they're in Vegas and they would have the pawn, you'd pawn in items, and it was a fun show. He praised President Trump's record during an afternoon appearance at the White House, saying, "I just want to say he's amazing. He's done so much. I'm a history buff, and I know a lot about this White House thing and everything. Literally, he's going to go down as maybe the best president ever. I love this guy." The History Channel personality said business owners were treated like bad people under the former president, Joe Biden, and that Trump's one big beautiful bill was, quote, absolutely amazing, saying, "God bless you for letting me get 100% appreciation. It really helps out." All right, on that note, this is going to outrage you. No, okay. It is going to outrage you, but I'm going to wait till the next segment. Because there's someone that isn't, and I'm not saying he ever supported Trump, but there's someone that is having issues because of the Trump presidency. They did a big expose on former President Barack Obama. Was it the New Yorker or the Atlantic? And he talked about kind of what they say is his responsibility for the Trump era. But he also, listen to this. It was the New Yorker. Barack Obama has offered a rare and candid glimpse into his marriage with Michelle. And it turns out Donald Trump is causing trouble at home. That's definitely something that catches your attention. The former president, Obama, admitted in an interview that Michelle wants him to step back from public life so the couple can enjoy their later years together. The problem? He keeps getting pulled back into the politics of the day. He said Trump's return to the White House is the reason he cannot simply walk away, and that his inability to do so has become a source of friction at home. He told The New Yorker, "It does create genuine tension in our household, and it frustrates her. I'm more forgiving of it. I understand why people feel that way." He also pushed back against critics who say he isn't doing enough, arguing his continued involvement is without precedent. No other ex-president was the main surrogate for the party for 4 election cycles after they left office. Okay, pat yourself on the back, Mr. Obama. How'd it work out for you, other than Biden? So this is really interesting. Imagine, they always talk about Trump living rent-free in people's heads. Imagine, and this is common, it's not rare, but imagine the friction of 2 Democrats being married and that friction of Donald Trump somehow being involved in their conversations that could lead to trouble in their marriage. But we've seen it sadly in the past where people aren't talking to their family, their friends, relationships are broken because of Donald Trump. Someone, now Obama's a little different here, but someone you will most likely never meet or talk to. Well, Barack Obama, he too many events apparently, or too many conversations with Michelle about it that is causing troubles at home. Troubles in paradise, as they say. As for the public clamor for him to do still more, Obama was philosophical, saying the fact that people want me to be doing more is a good sign. All right. In the interview with the New Yorker, Barack Obama has said Donald Trump's return to the White House is the reason he simply can't walk away from politics. Just last month, Obama was the top national figure supporting the Virginia amendment to gerrymander the state's congressional maps. We talked about that, and he was one that was kind of like, oh, this is a win for democracy. We're going to gerrymander and disenfranchise voters to prove our commitment to democracy. He also appeared alongside New York City Mayor Zohran Mamdani. We don't have to go through his whole recent time working for the Democrat Party. The Democrats notably missed out. Oh, no, we don't have to go through all that. Anyway, we don't have to go through all that. But many people were quick to realize that Democrats seemingly forget to praise their most recent leader, Biden. Despite serving as Obama's vice president and then being president himself, the Democrats' X account notably missed out recently on mentioning Biden in their Better Times post, with some voters saying they were erasing him from history. Anyway, so tension. Donald Trump causing tension in the Obama marriage. Go figure. All right, keep those comments coming in. We got to... When I say this is going to outrage you, did you see the judge and how he reacted to the shooting suspect at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, that shooting suspect, Cole Allen? We're going to tell you about that. And a couple other political-related things. Then we're going to get into, like I said, a lot of things that we just can't segue through. I'm not even going to try to promote. Then we're going to talk about Iran. We do have some New York State updates. So keep those great comments coming in. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking here at WYDC TV. Big Fox.
You deserve primary care that connects. Care that helps you move forward. Care that connects you to world-class specialists. Care that connects you to providers who are part of your community. And care that connects you to the life you love. Because great healthcare comes from providers who care about connection just like you. Find your primary care appointment at centralishealth.org/schedule.
They say when you love doing something, it stops being a chore. Ferris mowers with patented front and rear suspension are designed to turn hard work into an easy ride, no matter how rough the terrain. Quality cut, less fatigue, more control. Feels like the grass can't grow fast enough. Feels like a Ferris.
Get ready for Glass Fest, May 22nd through 24th. Brought to you by Chemung Canal Trust. Experience the magic of live glass blowing. From hands-on fun to incredible sights, there's something for everyone. Explore creations from local artisans. 3 days, one incredible celebration. Brought to you by Corning's Gaffer District. On Friday night, it's Drake White with John King opening. On Saturday, Tracy's A Taylor Experience. Join us for Glass Fest. Brought to you by Simmons Rockwell.
I'm meteorologist Brandon Weathers. Temperatures will be on the warm side today briefly, then a cold front rolls through, but 75 before that happens. A chance for showers and thunderstorms ahead of the approaching front. It sweeps the area through the evening, and then tonight will still be mild in mid and upper 40s, some low 50s in the warm spots, but by Wednesday, temperatures are below average by about 10 degrees. After that, we're pretty cool the rest of the forecast.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back, broadcasting live and proudly from the Hesselson studio. Let's go to some viewer comments. Mark writes in, I'm not going to Watkins Glen International, but good luck to them all. And all the rain forecasted, it might get messy. It'll be interesting to see. Obviously, as you are aware by now, the race moved to Mother's Day weekend. There's going to be some struggles there. Last year was, I think, Labor Day weekend. this is what NASCAR apparently does. We'll see how it all plays out. Comment from a different viewer. Some advice for Obama. Hey, Obama, just fade away. Or better yet, just disappear. No one likes you, so go away, you second-rate loser. Wow. Not pulling any punches there. Okay, yesterday, a D.C. federal judge apologized to the man accused of trying to assassinate President Trump and his top aides at the White House Correspondents' Dinner, saying the suspect's jail conditions are too harsh. Now, remember, his lawyer argued that he isn't a threat and should be let out of jail. Maybe the judge is leaning towards this. U.S. Magistrate Judge Zia M. Oh, I don't even want... you could pronounce this in a way that could get you in trouble. Faruku? That's the last time I'm going to say it, because, boy, if you said it fast. Told alleged wannabe killer Cole Allen he was sorry that the suspect had been held under suicide watch despite a mental health exam finding he did not pose a threat to harm himself. This is according to Politico. The judge said it was the court's job to make sure Allen was jailed responsibly and fairly, and that the accused killer was being treated differently than anyone I've ever observed. Well, have you observed a lot of potential presidential assassins? That would be my first question, because I think things get a little bit different when you're talking that avenue. Okay, continuing. Whatever you've been through, I apologize for the prior week, the judge told the alleged assassin. The move prompted furious U.S. Attorney for D.C., Janine Pirro, to tweet, quote, "Welcome to Washington, D.C., where the U.S. magistrate judge believes a defendant armed to the teeth and attempting to assassinate the president is entitled to preferential treatment in his confinement compared to every other defendant." Prosecutor Jocelyn Valenti has argued that the FBI recommended the measure because Allen told agents after his apprehension that he did not expect to survive the attempted assassination of the president. Tony Towns, a lawyer for the D.C. lockup, said Allen was in an isolated cell because of ongoing psychic exams, and that the decision to keep the decision to keep him there was made by medical staff at the facility. But the judge said he didn't think Allen's statement in custody meant he planned to kill himself, but rather that he expected to be shot during the assault. This is what you're going back and forth on? This is what we're dealing with here. Okay. Allen's lawyer, Eugene Young Kim Ohm, also informed the judge that Allen had been held in a padded cell and was on a 24-hour lockdown. Ohm said Allen wasn't allowed to make a call to him, was barred from having any court records in his cell, and wasn't even allowed to have a Bible. The judge says it just doesn't add up. As he noted, people convicted of more serious crimes were held in less restrictive conditions than Allen was being held in. He should not be in solitary confinement. The judge ordered the feds to update him by this morning about when Allen will be held going forward, or where he'll be held, and said he need justification for any decision to tighten restrictions on him in jail. Quote, "This is not the jail's first go-around with people engaged in alleged political violence." Referring to the aftermath of January 6th, of course. The judge declined to scrap the hearing, citing grave concerns about Allen's treatment. Allen's lawyers had claimed their client was escorted to the shower, strip searched anytime he came into or left the cell, and was made to wear a padded vest. All right. So apologizing to a would-be assassin, not only attempting to take out the President of the United States, but also his cabinet. You think of the damage, thank heavens it didn't happen, but that could have been done with that many cabinet members, and I hope that there's a long look in the future of having that many of the order of secession in one room like that. Okay. I know. I'm running late already. We got so many great comments coming in. People are so upset. We're at a time, article after article, where people are just sad, frustrated. Obamas are looking at marital problems because of Donald Trump. Well, to save you, as we do so often here on the program, any kind of trouble, The Guardian out of the United Kingdom put together fun ways that you can have fun right this second. And it is ridiculous. So that's why I printed it out and wanted to bring it to you. The ways that you can have fun right this minute. If you're not having fun, you're down in the dumps. Trump is destroying your marriage. Here we go. I'm not going to go through all of them. Number 1, a cartwheel. Have a kitchen disco, whatever that is. Make pancakes. How about this one? Wear colorful underwear. Get lost. That sounds like a bad idea. Ever like going out and just getting disoriented? Okay. Cook something from scratch. Try communal painting. Watch a show called Younger. Go omakase. This Japanese word translates to I leave it up to you. In the dining context, you're trusting the chef to choose what you eat, okay? Visit an arcade. Sit in the front seat of the top deck of a bus. Watch theater from home. Try cycling. Eat unconventional gelato. People are getting paid to write this, folks. This is the media that we're dealing with here. Play a video game. Go tracking. Make a Pringles chocolate block. Compose music. Get sweaty in a sauna. Host a themed dinner party. Draw your own nose, meaning literally draw on a piece of paper your own nose. Take tango lessons. Learn to play chess. Oh, how about this? If you wonder if there's any bias, they can find a way to put bias in any article. This is how you can have fun by The Guardian. See the boss. Go see Bruce Springsteen play live. So you can be lectured to about how bad Trump is and how bad MAGA is. It doesn't say that here, but why else would you send someone to see Bruce Springsteen when people have literally said, even his own hometown paper said that it is too preachy, it's becoming stale, it's like going to a lecture. But anyway, they had to throw that in. That seems like a quick way to have fun. Only should cost you about $2,000, $3,000, but a quick, fun way to have more fun, according to The Guardian. Let's keep going. Why not? Sprint. Go to the movie theater by yourself. Introduce a daily drink. I'm not suggesting the nightly boozing. Rather, start your evening pretending to be Italian. Okay. Count dogs. Browse Pinterest. Make potions. Watch an old TV series. Play Cuphead. I don't know what that is. Add novelty buttons to your jacket. Try bouldering, rock climbing. Binge medical dramas. Play Monopoly. Learn a tune. Go skydiving. Learn Japanese. Read old detective novels. Climb outdoors. Join a knitting class. Have a kickabout, meaning soccer. Go to a used DVD shop. Where can you find that? Go to auction sites. Make crumpets. Join a book club. Wear fancy dress. Elevate your cuppa. As a desperate measure to curb my migraines, I stopped eating sugar in January. Anyway, there are your ways to have fun, trying to help you. I'm sorry I wasted your time. Stay with us. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking after this.
Don't forget to visit our Facebook page at Big Fox News. Watch news from the Twin Tiers and catch local events on Facebook.com/Big Fox News. Give kids time. Just 5 minutes a day. Ask them how they're feeling. And listen.
This year, WYDC is bringing you 25 New York Mets games free over the air this spring and summer. No fees and no subscription services. Tune into WJKP 48.2 to watch the New York Mets this MLB season. Let's go Mets!
Here, millions fly with us at Allegiant because together, we go places. We see old friends and try new things. We laugh. We really like to laugh. And reconnect. We remember, and we wander, which leads to wonder. From how we go, to where we go, to what we do when we get there, we go further, together.
Glass Back the Park, presented by Simmons Rockwell. Saturday, May 23rd is Tracy's A Taylor Experience.
Welcome to our tribute to the Eras Tour.
Free and open to the public. Brought to you by Simmons Rockwell.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security and Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back, broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio, running late. So before we get into another topic, we're going to go to viewer comments. To tell you the truth, this viewer writes in, I know that Trump gets blamed for a lot, though not any fault of his own, through no fault of his own. But breaking up a marriage, I didn't see that coming. Now, in full fairness, there's just friction at the Obama household, not necessarily talking about divorce. But yes, people have blamed him for divorce. I know. All right, Ken writes in, Frank, I agree that if history is reported accurately and unbiased, Trump will have the honor of being one of the best presidents in history, and Biden the worst. However, given the world we live in, and that academia is largely controlled by Democrats, it will be written that Obama and Biden were visionaries that laid the groundwork, which Trump capitalized on and was able to take credit for in his term that follows each of these great presidents. I could not agree more, Ken. That's exactly what they'll do. They did it with Reagan. They tried to put all of Carter's problems, blame them on Reagan. You even see with the Vietnam War, you would think that Nixon started it. They're amazing at rewriting history because, as you said, the academia is largely controlled by the far left, not even just Democrats, the far left. There's no way they'll give Trump any kind of credit. It will all be negative in the history books. That's just, I think Republicans accept that. So I think you raised a really good point that there will be, you will think that Obama and Biden saved the world. Well, let's face it, Nancy Pelosi said at one time that Biden should be on Mount Rushmore, that he was one of the greatest presidents. That's how they'll present it in the history books. I couldn't agree more. Comment from a different viewer, how to have a fun morning. Fill a cup with good coffee and watch Frankly Speaking. Well, thank you very much. I like that idea a lot better than what The Guardian had to offer for us. I don't even know why I read that. It's just so ridiculous that they wasted print on that. Anyway. All right, let's take that short break. Oh, I see the Democrats are backing Hakeem Jeffries. They were very upset with Hakeem Jeffries. He wasn't doing enough to stop Trump. Then they think he got a win, which it looks like he didn't, with the redistricting. Then Trump, or the gerrymandering is what I should say. And then Trump came out and said he should be impeached because of what he said about the Supreme Court. Well, now Democrats are rallying around him. He is a president, meaning Trump, that is drowning in his dismal poll numbers and is hanging on for dear life, trying to finger point and try to discredit a member of Congress who clearly is rising, who clearly has the support of his peers, and who I think called it like it was, said Representative Adriano Espaillat from New York. And so you'll hear more from him as his polls continue to drop as they are right now. Now, Trump, if you didn't hear what Trump said, he said Hakeem Jeffries, a low IQ individual, said our Supreme Court is illegitimate. After saying such a thing, isn't he subject to impeachment? I got impeached for a perfect phone call. Where are you, Republicans? Why not get it started? They'll be doing this to me. He's not wrong. He's absolutely not wrong. They will be doing that to him. All right, now we got to take a break. Wrapping up hour number 1 after this. So get your questions, comments, concerns in.
More cars, lower prices. Simmons Rockwell. Whether you're in the market for new, used, or certified pre-owned, Simmons Rockwell locations across the Twin Tiers have more of what you're looking for with our best price right on the windshield. Make car buying simple when you drive your deal at a Simmons Rockwell location near you, where you'll always find more cars at lower prices.
I had to pack up all my things. I had to leave my home. And I never knew where I was going next. It felt like I never even had a say. But then you came along.
Change a child's story. There's a child in foster care waiting for a volunteer like you. Learn how you can help at nationalcasagal.org.
Hi, I'm meteorologist Brandon Weathers. Temperatures will be on the warm side today briefly, then a cold front rolls through, but 75 before that happens. A chance for showers and thunderstorms ahead of the approaching front. It sweeps the area through the evening, and then tonight will still be mild in mid and upper 40s, some low 50s in the warm spots, but by Wednesday, temperatures are below average by about 10 degrees. After that, we're pretty cool the rest of the forecast with
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back, broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio. As we wrap up hour number one, we've just been jumping all around here, having a blast. I don't normally like to promote these types of press releases because it's really just for a company to get free advertisement. But I thought this was worth noting. As we prepare for America's 250th birthday celebration this summer, several major food companies are getting in on the party by releasing limited edition patriotic themed products. We haven't seen something like this in so long that it is kind of refreshing that they're embracing our 250th birthday, because under the Obama administration, under the Biden administration, it would have been something that was frowned upon, having that kind of remember, we were laughed at for having patriotism for years now, that if you're patriotic, it's a negative thing. So this is kind of refreshing. Cheerios, Coca-Cola, Mountain Dew, and Oreo are among the iconic all-American brands teasing special items to commemorate the 250th birthday. Cheerios will release a birthday cake-flavored cereal set to hit shelves in commemorative red, white, and blue in the summer. The Coca-Cola company is going all in with limited edition America 250 packaging, including custom bottles and Coca-Cola's first ever America 250 collectible mini cans. Mountain Dew has temporarily branded itself in honor of the 250th birthday, calling itself American Dew for the summer, with an American flag on the bottle. All right, so enough on this, but I just thought that was kind of refreshing at a time when so many people before Trump lost that kind of patriotism, that it was disheartening. So to see companies, because remember, a lot of companies, I'm not going to say they did specifically, but a lot of companies went so woke during the Biden administration and even before, towards the end of the Obama administration, where it was, you were lectured. Remember that one Super Bowl where people were waiting for the ads and every ad was you being lectured about how bad you are and how bad we are as a country? One last update from earlier this week. Jimmy Kimmel. Well, Daniel Baldwin, the brother of Alec Baldwin, blasted Jimmy Kimmel over his monologues that bashed the Trump administration. He said, does Jimmy Kimmel not realize that when you keep bombarding in every one of your monologues and planting this kind of hatred in the American public or the people that follow you, someone might act on that? Now, does that exonerate Kimmel of any wrongdoing? Yeah, he didn't do it. But did he play a role in it? Does he care that he played a role in it? Is that the point? Does he do it because he wants that to happen? I don't know the answer to those questions, but I'm sad. Now, Baldwin, the second oldest of the four Baldwin brothers, became a conservative back in 2016 and said he's never seen high-profile personalities talk so casually about political violence. I remember being on a movie set with big-name people, Oscar winner, high-paid talent, and they would just be like blank on some politician or person, like, yeah, someone should get him. Someone should shoe him. Once someone said it in front of me, and I thought, wow, your voice carries weight. You know, your words have followers and people. I used to be proud to say I was an actor. You walk into a room now and say, yeah, I'm an actor. I'm a movie actor and a television actor. It's not something I'm so proud of saying, or it's not as big a deal because of the hatred that comes out from that side. Baldwin referenced Johnny Carson's monologue at the 1981 Academy Awards one day after the assassination attempt on President Ronald Reagan. I'm sure that all of you here and most of you watching tonight understand why we delayed this program for 24 hours, Carson said, because of the incredible events of yesterday. That old adage, the show must go on, seemed relatively unimportant. We never hated anyone. We never wanted someone to die or laugh about them dying. It's really disturbing to me, Baldwin said. We know all about the controversy there. I just thought that was an interesting update, but we are out of time for hour number one. Hour number two coming up after this. Stay with us.
William Matar has a reputation for being a good guy.
Because I am a good guy.
For being focused on motor vehicle accident cases.
Because I focus on motor vehicle accidents.
For fighting for his clients.
Because I fight for my clients.
If you've been injured in a motor vehicle accident, it matters who you hire. It matters in the experience as well as the results. Call William Matar. Visit WilliamMatar.com.
Kyle just made a decision that would change his whole world.
Hey, you're sober? You drive.
Kyle just made a decision that would change his whole world. Drive sober or get pulled over.
Kids time. Ask them how they're feeling. And listen.
And we welcome you to hour number 2 of Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV Big Fox. I'm your host, Frank Acom. We are broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio here on Marcus Street in Corning. We've been having great conversations. We've got 4 or 5 different stories here. There's no way to segue to. Then we're going to get into Iran, a couple of New York State updates. Keep those comments, keep those waves coming in. This should come as no surprise. This is a piece that I think we all predicted. It's this out of Politico. Inside the quiet Republican effort to flip John Fetterman. Now, we've had this conversation in the past on the program, and I think quite a few of you have the same reaction as I did. I think he's doing more good in the Democrat Party being the one person that's reasonable. But Republicans are quietly trying to win him over. See, I think the problem with that, and it's a typical kind of Republican thing, trying to win him over. I get it, to get the numbers up. But the problem with that is that he's still not 100% adherence with the Republican Party. So right now, he's kind of the fly in the ointment sometimes for Democrats. Do Republicans want him on our side to be the fly in the ointment sometimes when he still votes Democrat? I don't understand why there would be this push. Just let him do his thing. There's a disturbance in the force, they said at Politico. Senate Republicans and President Donald Trump trying to persuade Senator John Fetterman to switch parties or at least become an independent to ensure Republicans retain power in the chamber. It's a scenario that's becoming less fantastical by the day. The political environment is curdling for Republicans, and the quiet campaign to lure Fetterman across the aisle is underway. Trump has made the sell, offering his patented total and complete endorsement plus a financial windfall to the Pennsylvanian. A handful of Senate Republicans are also gently feeling out Fetterman and responding to his concerns over the prospect of defecting from the Democrat Party. If Fetterman does flip, according to the officials, who were given anonymity to talk about sensitive matters, it will be thanks in large parts to his deepening friendship with a pair of senators and their high-profile spouses. Senator David McCormick and his wife Dina, and Senator Katie Britt and her husband Wesley. But the first-term Democrat, who's infuriated his party with his harder line on immigration and staunch support for Israel, Trump nominees, government funding bills, and most recently the president's ballroom, isn't yet persuaded. I'm not changing, Fetterman said. I'm a Democrat and I'm staying one. Yet, at least in private, he's not totally rejecting dropping the D next to his name. But he did say in an interview, I'd be a blanking Republican, meaning I can't say the word, but not a very good one. Just interesting. Your thoughts. I just don't know. Yes, I know numbers-wise it would help Republicans, but would it if at the end of the day, I mean, just let him kind of do his thing. Hannity told Fetterman, your job is to tell him he's going to run as a Republican. He's going to have our full support, more money than he's ever dreamed of, and he's going to win big. That's what Trump told Hannity, Fetterman didn't respond to Trump's authorized offer, but when asked about how Democrats treat him, he said, they don't mistreat me, but I think increasingly they're suspicious or kind of standoffish, I would guess. Excuse me. So your thoughts on Fetterman switching parties. Also, as I said, a couple of quick updates with no real way to segue. Taxpayers have paid more than $300,000 in confidential sexual harassment settlements on behalf of 6 former members of the House of Representatives or their offices. That's according to GOP Representative Nancy Mace and documents received by CNN. See, what they're trying to do is almost cover a little bit and not mention Eric Swalwell as much. Now, I know CNN did kind of an expose on him yesterday with some documents and videos that they received. I'm not going to go into the gritty details, terms and conversations I wouldn't want to have with you this early in the morning because I know we have a lot of kids watching, but some of the videos of what he sent women and things like that. So they are making a little bit of the rounds, but not as if it were a Republican. But I'll continue. The Office of Congressional Workplace Rights was compelled to turn over the settlement documents to Congress following a subpoena from Mace, who has helped lead an effort on Capitol Hill to push for transparency and accountability following sexual misconduct allegations that led to a pair of high-profile resignations. A pair. Well, yes, Tony Gonzalez did step down, resigned as well, but the big one is Eric Swalwell, who is running for governor. Well, CNN review of over 1,000 pages of case files, including counsel notes, settlement documents, and former complaints, offers a window into allegations that certain members leveraged their position of power to mistreat their staff. And this was not just exclusively sexual harassment claims. From January 1st of 1996 through December 12th of 2028, the office approved 349 awards or settlements to resolve complaints against legislative branch offices, and General Counsel sent a letter to James Comer. 23 case files of settlement in the jurisdiction of the Office of Congressional Workplace Rights were destroyed pursuant to the office's record retention policy. Anyway, we don't have to get into the wonkiness of this. Mace named 6 former lawmakers or lawmakers' offices involved in the settlements, totaling more than $300,000 on a post on Monday. Most of the members named by the Congresswoman resigned from Congress after publicly facing allegations of sexual misconduct, including former Representative John Connors from Michigan, a Democrat, and Blake Farenthold, a Texas Republican. Again, we don't have to go through each number, but I thought that was interesting. I know she's been working hard, Representative Nancy Mace, on that. Also, did you hear, I don't want to go into too much of this, but there's a huge controversy going out in Texas, and so many other outlets have reported on this, conservative outlets. But a taxpayer-funded Texas water park is getting pushback, getting criticized for having a, quote, Muslims-only event next month. A flyer for the event on June 1st noted 3 times that attendance was strictly for Muslims and that modest swimsuits are required. As many people said, seems like a civil rights violation, or when can we expect Christians only day? Radio host Dana Lash, I think is how you pronounce it, asked how is a taxpayer-funded, city-owned entity allowed to discriminate against non-Muslims at a public water park? That's a fair question. Well, it sounds like it was a PR disaster, because after the backlash, the organizer of the event, Amina Knight, said that she is backtracking on how she is advertising it to make it clear that this is a modest dress-only event centered around celebrating Eid. Is that how you say that? E-I-D? The 3rd annual event is being held at Epic Waters in Grand Prairie outside Dallas, a massive 80,000 square feet indoor water park that opened in 2017 at the cost of $88 million. The park was funded by a 0.25% sales tax residents approved at the ballot box in 2014. The facts for the event say the entire water park has been exclusively reserved for Muslims. Yeah, this just sounds like really bad PR. Although the event website says men and women will not be separated during the event, it notes we ask all attendees to uphold Islamic etiquette just as they do in other mixed-gender spaces, and encourages all visitors to follow a modest dress code and lower their gaze around members of the opposite sex to help preserve a spiritually mindful and welcoming atmosphere for all. They also had a list of what to wear, where you could buy some modest swimwear. Also advertised as a private prayer room, which will be available between 5:30 and 7:30 p.m. on the night of the celebration. Now, a new flyer for the event, released yesterday, removed the words Muslim only and replaced it with modest dress only, and added the line, come and celebrate Eid with us, and all are welcome. Just sounds like an example of bad PR and how things like that, you really got to think through how things can grow quickly. All right, when we come back, we are going to talk about Iran. We've got a couple other things here before we talk about New York. You want to hear a surprise headline about New York? Wealth is exiting New York. Yeah, not that surprising. Hey, speaking of New York, on Friday's edition of Frankly Speaking, we've got a very exciting show. We're going to hear from state comptroller candidate Joseph Hernandez. Mr. Hernandez is going to be in the area. He's going to join us in the studio. Looking forward to hearing from him. He's part of that ticket, of course, with Bruce Blakeman, the Republican ticket for New York State. So he will be joining us early on Friday, probably around 6:50-ish. Then at 7 o'clock, we're going to hear from former Congressman, current Assemblyman, the chair of the Steuben County Republican Committee, Joe Sempolinski. He'll be joining us on Friday. We always know that he's a fan favorite, so we'd like to have him on as often as possible. Let's take a short break. We'll read your comments when we return. This is Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV, Big Fox.
Hi, this is Tom Witzel, owner of Hesselson's in Amara Heights. At Hesselson's, we care about your well-being and overall health, whether it's relieving stress, muscle recovery, increasing circulation, or just revitalizing the body. Hesselson's now has 2 complete line of infrared and traditional rock saunas in our new and expanded showroom. Come in today and see why owning a sauna is a start of your new healthy lifestyle. Hesselson's is still locally and family-owned and operated in Amara Heights. After 70 years, it's still fun to poke in the corners at Hesselson's.
Accident. If you're looking for an honest, dependable, trustworthy auto repair shop, bring it to Nappy's. Or if it's undrivable, have it towed right to us. It's your choice where to take your vehicle. Nappy's works with all insurance companies and will manage all vehicle calibrations. Nappy's has a state-of-the-art paint booth and a new and improved repair shop. Let our friendly staff of specialists help you through the process and get it done right the first time. Commit to Nappy's, family-owned for 3 generations.
Thank you for your business.
What matters most is that our customers, our communities, and our heroes are taken care of. We start by providing American-made gasoline, which means you can buy local, keeping America and your communities strong. We also support vital charities every year and hold Operation Give Thanks each November to help provide a better future for our veterans and their families. We're proud to support the communities we live and work in, and we're doing our best every day to make our towns a better place. Quick though, driving America.
I'm meteorologist Brandon Weathers. Temperatures will be on the warm side today briefly, then a cold front rolls through, but 75 before that happens. A chance for showers and thunderstorms ahead of the approaching front. It sweeps the area through the evening, and then tonight will still be mild in mid and upper 40s, some low 50s in the warm spots, but by Wednesday, temperatures are below average by about 10 degrees. After that, we're pretty cool the rest of the forecast.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security and Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio, live and proudly from the Hesselson studio. Comments from viewers. It just dawned on me. It's not Fetterman's vote that matters. It's about the majority in Congress. Sure, it is about it. You're right. And that's because that's what they had originally said is I don't think it matters what party Fetterman belongs to. He will vote the way he votes, whether or not this vote is for or against either the Democrat or Republican Party. I agree. It is at the end of the day. I'm just saying that it's not a bad thing if he still wants to agree with us all the time and stays a Democrat. I know it's about the majority. I understand. But really, it does boil down at the end of the day how he votes. So I'm with you. I'm in the same boat. Comment from a different viewer. Trump is doing the right thing by preparing to withdraw troops from European countries. Time for them to spend on their own on their own projects, or protection, I should say. For 80 years, we have paid well. They have short work weeks, and America has worked overtime building a safe world. They need a real wake-up call. Thank you very much. Mark writes in, heck yeah, Fetterman should join the Republican Party. The more the merrier. I like that one. Comment from a different viewer. Morning, Frank. Well, good morning to you. I love how this lying Chucky Schumer sneaks around the state spreading his baloney, we'll say. Never letting anyone know where he's at because he knows the protests against him would be huge. Something odd is going on with our meat supply and where it's coming from, and old Chucky is trying to make himself look good. If Chucky is in favor, it's not good for the people. Yeah, he has a history of this, of really only letting pro-Chuck Schumer groups know. Like, so if he's giving a big grant to Charity X, right? They'll know that he's coming to the area, and then the media will know last minute because he doesn't want the protesters. To your point, he had to cancel his book tour, remember? Because so many people in his own party wanted to protest him. Not just conservatives, the people in his own party wanted to protest him. So he's very good at that. There's a few things that Chuck Schumer, and I know there's not a lot of people that like him out there, and I don't either. But Chuck Schumer is great, we'll just put it that way, at the kind of one-on-one politics of things. He can take credit for all the money, he tries to anyway, for all the money that comes to the area, any area in New York State. That's why you'll see him, and let's face it, he's been around this area numerous times where he'll get some type of grant money and take full credit for it. One thing I learned, and it was kind of fascinating, I saw it firsthand years ago, if you remember Tony R's restaurant here on Market Street. I was there, and Chuck Schumer was in the area, and he went with his people for dinner. And one thing that he is really good at, I didn't know this is giving you a look behind the curtain of politics, he would have his people go in first, and they would introduce themselves. So then when he came through, like, it didn't happen to me. I didn't talk to him. But let's say they came up to me and go, hi, who are you? And I'll say, oh, I'm Frank. And well, the senator's going to be here. And then they'll go back and signal to him. He'll come in and go, Frank, how are you? As if he knows you. Little stuff like that sounds stupid, but it heads up. A lot of people could be duped. So Chuck Schumer, that's why he travels around the state. He's become a master at that fake, the stuff that we hate about politics. He's a master at it. All right. Trump called Iran conflict a mini war. I called a mini war because that's all they are. They don't have a navy anymore. He said, call it whatever you want. He declined to say whether the ceasefire is still in effect. He was on with Hugh Hewitt. He said, if I answer that question, you'd say this man is not smart enough to be president. He said, I can't tell you that. Now, the U.S. did sink an Iranian boat in Hormuz, and Trump warns that the regime could be blown off the face of the earth. Speaking to Fox News, President Trump made clear the United States would respond decisively to any Iranian attempt to strike vessels participating in the mission. They'll be blown off the face of the earth, Trump said. We have more weapons and ammunition at much higher grade than we had before. We have the best equipment. We have stuff from all over the world. We have these bases all over the world. They're all stocked up with equipment. We can use all of that stuff, and we will if we need it. Now, Iran warns, I should say, the United States against being dragged back into quagmire. Isn't this interesting? And whatever you think about what I'm going to say, but I think it's a fair point that I can make. Isn't it interesting when Iran uses the same talking points as Democrats in Washington? What I mean is, Democrats asked P. Hegseth, or kept calling it a quagmire. Are we in a quagmire? And, you would think this is the longest war we've ever had in this country, but kept using quagmire. Did Iran watch those hearings and say, I like what the Democrats are saying? Because they end up using the same term? Events in Hormuz made clear there's no military solution to a political crisis, the regime said. As talks are making progress with Pakistan's gracious effort, the U.S. should be wary of being dragged back into quagmire by ill-wishers. Sounds very reminiscent of the questions that P. Hegseth was asked. He also warned the United Arab Emirates, which was reportedly targeted by Iranian drones, and mocked Trump's Project Freedom initiative to guide ships through the Strait of Hormuz. Project Freedom is Project Deadlock, he scoffed. This comes after Trump said that he would blow them off the face of the earth. It's just interesting when you say, wait, where did I hear that before? That almost that same sentence. Oh, that's right. Democrats questioning P. Hegseth. Trump says, and I would love to hear your thoughts on this. We've asked a lot of great questions this morning, not coming from me. Adam Kissinger said earlier that no one will say that they were a Trump supporter in 5 to 10 years. No one will admit to it voting for him in 5 to 10 years. Do you believe that to be the case? What do you think about this? President Trump said that he's torn about the Iranian people taking to the streets now because they lost 42,000 people in the first 2 weeks. I don't really want to see that. They have to have guns, and I think they're going to get some guns. As soon as they have guns, they'll fight as good as anybody there is. Well, look, the problem is that you can't, if you have 5 people with a gun and 250,000, the 5 people with a gun, assuming it's used fast enough, which they do, the 5 people, they're going to win. They have to. They don't have weapons. They lost 42,000, to be exact, 42,000 people in about a 2-week period. Protesters, innocent, unarmed protesters. They killed the wrestler. He's actually a world-class wrestler. They killed him and his 2 friends. They hung him from a crane in the square. And so we're not dealing with your typical people. He added that you can't have an unarmed population against people with AK-47s and stand there, even if you have 250,000 people. That makes a little more sense. So you started off by asking me what would I like to see them. And I'm very torn on it because they lost 42,000 people in the first 2 weeks. I don't really want to see that. They have to have guns, and I think they're going to get some guns. As soon as they have guns, they'll fight as good as anybody there is. But when you have people that are armed and they have very good weapons on the other side, now they've been depleted. A lot of people fighting don't want to fight anymore. They're not getting paid anymore, from what I'm hearing, because we have obliterated them, like in the military. We've done the same thing to them financially, economically. We don't think that they're paying their soldiers and their guards anymore. So they've got a lot of problems, but we'll see what happens. We have all the cards. Now, Lindsey Graham, and whatever you think about Lindsey Graham, love him, hate him, doesn't matter. He definitely is a war hawk. I think we can all admit that. He was on Hannity's program, and he said, I love the idea of a Second Amendment solution for the Iranian people. Those who want to eliminate the Second Amendment in our country, no way. What did the Founding Fathers do when they got to America? Free from the king. They made sure that people would be able to be armed. The first thing the king does is takes the guns away from his subjects. The first thing a religious theocracy does is to make sure that nobody can have a gun to threaten the regime. So if I were President Trump and Israel, I would load the Iranian people up with weapons so they could go to the streets armed and turn the tide of battle inside Iran. We don't need American boots on the ground. We've got millions of boots on the ground in Iran. They just don't have any weapons. Give them weapons so they can rise up like we did to destroy the regime. A Second Amendment solution, I think, would go a long way to ending the war. Now, Sean Hannity said, my understanding is that there have been attempts to do so, and they tried to funnel it through groups. Graham said, do it again. Hannity said, my understanding, for example, working with the Kurds, they were stealing 90% of the weapons. Graham said, don't work with the Kurds. Work with somebody else. And if you could prove to me that Kurds were stealing weapons, the Kurds will regret that. I love the idea of empowering the Iranian people with weapons. A Second Amendment solution to make the Revolutionary Guard's life will say heck. It's one thing to be bombed by America. It's another thing to have your neighbors shoot back at you because they're tired of being slaughtered. So we got millions of boots on the grounds with no weapons, is the way he put it. So weaponize the Iranian people. Your thoughts on that? We got a couple other Iran things, but we got to take a short break. Stay with us. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV, Big Fox.
New York State is putting nearly $60 million towards improving key roadways across the southern tier.
Many older homes are still at risk for exposing residents to high levels of lead.
The Nani Hood Parent Resource Center once again brought the community together for its annual Halloween parade.
Around the southern tier, Finger Lake stands out for its scenery and wine scene. This year's dry drought brought some positives to the crop. Lee Comm Center is looking for fans to show up and show out.
Give kids time.
Month after year, even decades, you've paid into the insurance system. You've done your part. But when you're seriously injured in a car accident or another tragedy, that system turns its back. Insurance companies care more about pumping up profits and stock prices than paying for your medical bills, your lost wages, or your recovery. At WYDC Injury Law, we fight to make them pay what's fair. If you've been hurt in New York or Pennsylvania, call 607-500-HURT. Don't let the insurance companies win.
Give kids time. Just 5 minutes a day. Ask them how they're feeling. And listen.
Glassfest Rock the Park Presented by Simmons Rockwell. Friday, May 22nd, it's award-winning country music powerhouse Drake White with soulful country entertainer John King opening. Friday, May 22nd in Riverfront Centennial Park in Corning. Free and open to the public. Brought to you by Simmons Rockwell.
United Way fights for the health, education, and financial stability of every person in every community.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back, broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio on Market Street in Corning. Fred writes in, good morning, Frank. Well, good morning, Fred. Do you have any information about the state-subsidized 1,000-acre solar farm that is being planned in the Addison, Campbell, Irwin townships? There's a lot of information out there. I know I went to not a forum, would it be, like a presentation on it, probably over a year ago now. I don't know what specifically are you looking for. I mean, it is, I don't know. I didn't know it was exactly 1,000 acres, but yes, it is a huge solar farm. It is subsidized by the state. If I recall correctly, it's basically all over but the shouting. That's the problem with the solar farms, that the state has the final say over the municipalities. So it's kind of like the municipalities are just along for the ride. But as far as I know, it's still a go. I haven't heard anything different. But if there's anything specific you'd like to know, Fred, I'd be happy to help. Comment from a different viewer. I find it amazing that when the Ukraine war started, we were told that they are the world's fertilizer supplier. Now, the war in Iran, we are told the same thing. I wonder if Cuba will be a major fertilizer supplier soon. Just a thought. That's a great point. That's a very great point. I forgot about that with Ukraine. That's the media. Let's face it. What we see from their conversations, what we see on the media and from some politicians is they want us to lose. I hate to say it. I know that sounds rough and harsh. They want us to lose. So they're trying to paint everything in a negative light and how it's affecting you every day. Comment from a different viewer. Good morning, Frank. Well, good morning. Second Amendment worked for us, similar to when we gave Indians guns that they were able to fight many years. I think it's a good idea. It continues to work for us. Why do you think the Democrats want to take our guns away? Thank you very much. I don't think it's a bad idea. I was just kind of teasing Lindsey Graham because he is always on the side of the war hawk. I don't think it's a bad idea because I don't see any way, personally, not that I'm some war expert, but how does Iran, when they're killing their own people, the regime's killing their own people for just protesting the street, how do they rise up? We kept saying, leave it up to the people to change the regime, but how can they? Being realistic. I mean, if they don't have any guns, you can only throw so many stones or bring so many clubs and things like that. It's not going to work against the guns that the Iranian regime have. And the Iranian regime shows no hesitation in killing their own people for any minor infraction. Now, Ted Cruz said yesterday on Bloomberg that things in Iran, that it's wrap it up time. Let's wrap up in time. In terms of gas prices, you go back a couple of years under Joe Biden, and gas prices were about $6 a gallon. President Trump and the Republicans in Congress came in, and we dropped it in half to about $3 a gallon. That was a massive savings. Now, anytime you have a military conflict in the Middle East, that's going to have an upward pressure on gas prices. So gas prices have risen to about $4.5 a gallon. So it's got to be up about halfway from the distance it fell. That being said, this conflict will be over. It will be over in a matter of months. And when it is over, if we can give anything like a stable regime in Iran, that will have a long-term major downward pressure on gas prices. But more importantly, look, the Iranian regime is the world's leading state sponsor of terrorism. They've killed nearly 1,000 Americans. The president is acting to keep people safe. And by the way, you noted, California, people are paying $7 a gallon. This is not because of Iran. This is because Gavin Newsom and the Democrats tax and regulate the heck out of gas. They made the decision that they want it to be really expensive to live in California, which is a big part of the reason so many people are leaving California. And that's a good point. Yes, prices are up. But do you realize how much of that is state tax? How much of that is Governor Hochul reaching in your pockets? Douglas Schoen said the Iran war has real political risks, but don't ignore its strategic payoff. Saying that, there are implications for Republicans now with this. But growing concern about the Senate as well. But what he boils it down to is If the war ultimately results in the Iranian regime that is permanently weakened, especially one incapable of developing nuclear weapons, and strengthens alignment among U.S. allies in the region, its long-term consequences could prove to be far more consequential than its short-term political costs. That said, the administration faces a challenge of both executing the strategy abroad and explaining it at home. While voters are justifiably focused on what they're paying at the pump today, history is likely to judge this conflict on something much larger, whether it's profoundly reshaped the Middle East in a way that made the U.S. and its allies safer and more secure. Also on the international front, and yes, we are going to talk about New York State issues here in just a little bit. But on the international front, I printed this in a way that doesn't, it was maybe out of, I don't think it was the Daily Mail. Putin has spent weeks in a bunker. Putin fears a coup from his own entourage. Vladimir Putin has reportedly been taking refuge in a renovated bunker for weeks as he becomes increasingly paranoid about these assassination attempts. Wow. Concerns about a potential coup, according to, here it is, reports citing a Western intelligence agency. Security measures have been dramatically heightened around the Kremlin dictator, who has reportedly fled his preferred palaces, fearing that they could become targets of drone attacks by members of his own inner circle. The new assessment cites an unnamed Western intelligence agency, has been disclosed by the independent Russian news outlet Important Stories. Since the beginning of March of 2026, the Kremlin and Vladimir Putin have been concerned about a leak of sensitive information and, at the same time, about the risk of a plot or coup attempt against the Russian president. In particular, he feels the use of drones for a possible assassination attempt by members of the Russia political elite. His Security Council secretary, who served as a Minister of Defense during the war's initial years, is associated with the risk of a coup attempt. Ooh. So also an attempt to undermine that person. Interesting. We'll keep an eye on that as things unfold. Okay, before we talk about New York State issues, we've been talking about Democrats this morning. We talked about Fetterman. We've talked about a lot of topics. Does this poll surprise you? A recent Harvard-Harris survey revealed that most Americans believe that Democrats are for open borders. The question was asked, do you think that Democrats are standing now for open borders, or are they against open borders? Across the board, 58% said they believe Democrats are for open border, compared to 42% who believe Democrats are against open borders. There's a bipartisan consensus, as 52% of Democrats and 67% of Republicans and 53% of independents believe Democrats are for open borders as well. Well, if 53% of Democrats believe that their own party is for open borders, doesn't that actually make their party for open borders? 52%? This coincides with the reality that President Trump has one of his highest approval ratings on the issue of immigration, clocking in at 47%. For greater comparison, former President Joe Biden's approval on immigration stood at 34%. But just something interesting. I don't think it really comes as a surprise. I wouldn't think so. All right, we got a lot of New York updates. Probably almost spend the rest of the program on that. Some out of the city as well that I think are worth mentioning. Let's see, what else we got? No. I keep doing this, and that's why I keep running late. But we did talk about New York State lawmakers have passed the 9th state budget extender, and it runs just through tomorrow. The New York State legislature yesterday passed a 9th state budget extender. Now more than a month past the budget deadline. Well, a month and 5 days, which was signed into law by Governor Hochul. But this is why I don't understand it. No one really seems to have an answer, and that's okay. I don't know if there is an answer. Why do they do the extenders for such short periods of time? Does Governor Hochul seriously think, and maybe I'm wrong here, maybe she does, that between Monday and Wednesday they're going to come up with a budget deal, and so they don't have to put the extender through? I just don't understand that. Now, Hochul did tell reporters Friday that she is hopeful a budget framework deal could come this week. The governor and legislative leaders have said progress has been made in Hochul's proposal to reform the car insurance issue, dial back the 2019 climate law, school aid, and to nail down details. Yeah, imagine that. So we've got the school budgets coming up. And I marked it down, darn it. I don't have it right in front of me. But the vote is coming up very soon. I didn't know I was going to go this way. But it is coming up very soon. School budgets are based a lot of times on what's going on with the state budget, and they don't have state budget. There it is. I thought so. That the election day for, oh, maybe I was wrong. I'm gonna. You probably, someone out there has the exact day. Why can't I find it easily for when the school budget vote is? I know it's coming right up, and yet here I can't, and I have it written down on my calendar. There it is. Thank goodness. Tuesday, May 19th from 11 a.m. till 8 p.m. So you've got school budgets coming up, and we're going to talk about it as it nears. I know a lot of people have been upset. We'll talk about it. But what I'm saying is these schools, it doesn't matter if you're in Corning, Painted Post, if you're in Elmira, Horsetts, wherever, a lot of them are dependent on state resources, and we have no budget. A lot of municipalities depend on state budget. We don't have a state budget. It's a mess, but Hochul shrugs her shoulders, doesn't really seem to care, doesn't seem to be in any real hurry to get this passed. State Assembly Minority Leader Ed Robb criticized the budget tardiness in reference to the franchise Star Wars, because yesterday was May 4th. And that's called May the 4th be with you. The governor indicated that this should be a very significant week. But whether or not it's an attempt at a Jedi mind trick, there's little evidence that inspires a new hope. More than a month after the April 1st deadline, we've heard enough hints, estimates, and innuendos. New Yorkers expect and deserve spending details and actual budget bills. They say the greatest teacher failure is. But Albany Democrats have clearly learned nothing from their own dysfunction that for years has plagued this process. Yeah, Hochul doesn't care. I mean, it's simple as that. That's never been... Thank you, the 19th. Thank you, Mark. Yes, I'm sorry. I just didn't want to give the wrong information. I got it stuck in my head. I knew it was the 19th, but I didn't want to say that and have it not be. But the school budget vote is on the 19th, so thank you for that. All right, we got to take a short break. Stay with us. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV, Big Fox.
You don't have time to go to the gym? The health club is not an option? Come to Hesselson today and see why swim spas and fitness systems can fit into anyone's yard and budget. 12-foot, 14-foot, 15-foot, 18-foot dual temperature hot tub and swim spas are all on display in Hesselson's indoor and outdoor showroom. Try before you buy. 0% interest-free financing options are available on every Hesselson swim spa. Swim and exercise year-round and start making every day better. After 70 years, it's still fun to poke in the corners at Hesselson's.
New York State is putting nearly $60 million towards improving key roadways across the southern tier.
Many older homes are still at risk for exposing residents to high levels of lead.
The Nani Hood Parent Resource Center once again brought the community together for its annual Halloween parade.
Around the southern tier, Finger Lake stands out for its scenery and wine scene. This year's dry drought brought some positives to the crop. Lecom Center is looking for fans to show up and show out.
Glass Stock the Park, presented by Simmons Rockwell. Saturday, May 23rd is Tracy's A Taylor Experience.
Welcome to our tribute to the Eras Tour.
Free and open to the public. Brought to you by Simmons Rockwell.
Down and play, I'll write your name.
Do you worry about how much someone drinks?
Do you feel neglected or unloved? If you answered yes to any of these questions, you are not alone.
Al-Anon and Alateen can help. Call 1-866-200-0223 or visit alanon.org/help.
Hi, I'm meteorologist Brandon Weathers. Temperatures will be on the warm side today briefly, then a cold front rolls through, but 75 before that happens. A chance for showers and thunderstorms ahead of the approaching front. It sweeps the area through the evening, and then tonight will still be mild in mid and upper 40s, some low 50s in the warm spots, but by Wednesday, temperatures are below average by about 10 degrees. After that, we're pretty cool the rest of the forecast.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security in Horsetts. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio. Let's go to some viewer comments. Mark says, yes, the tax on gas in New York is disgusting. Back when gas was $3 a gallon, I would get non-tax gas at the reservation for $2.35 a gallon. Oh, good point. Thank you, Mark. Ken writes in, unfortunately, I doubt arming the Iranian people would be possible. I would tend to probably agree with you, Mark, or Ken. Getting enough military-style weapons and ammunition into their hands clandestinely and quickly, along with some training on using them and on tactics, would be an impossible task. Not to mention the military equipment that the IRGC has in their possession. The only way that the Iranian people will be ultimately free of this tyrannical regime would be for the U.S. and NATO to come together and force the regime with crushing sanctions to hold free and fair elections. This is also a heavy lift, but it would be easier than weaponizing the Iranian people. Thank you. I appreciate that, Ken. I would tend to agree. Comment from a different viewer. Dems need to come back to America. Thank you very much. All right. This is the least surprising headline. Wealth is exiting New York. More high-wage earners and other people of means are leaving the state than moving here. The Sun Belt is cashing in, also pockets of the Northeast and Midwest. There's a lot of depressing statistics about Western New York and its economy. This is more highlighted Western, but it's all about New York in general. Our job growth is stagnant and our population is shrinking. I came across the most distressing statistic in the current issue of Business First. We as a region, and this is about more towards the Buffalo area, are growing poorer in part because of population loss, although that's not necessarily the only factor. The adjusted gross income of people who moved out of Buffalo in 2022 and 2023 was $311 million greater than those who moved in. It reflects a loss of some 3,500 people. Wealth is fleeing New York across the state. More money left than moved into Rochester, Syracuse, Albany, New York City, even Long Island. And that ties in with, this is specifically about the city, though I would say that's about all New York, and I would blame Hochul's policies. But Ron DeSantis from Florida, governor from Florida, also put some of the blame on Zohran Mamdani. DeSantis said, I don't think it's good that like one guy gets elected mayor and then people feel like they have to flee the city. We'd have people come down to Florida all the time, and they respond to all those problems, not by correcting the problems, but electing somebody who was exasperating the problems. And that's always been a really big concern for Florida and other states that start to reap the benefits of the mass exodus from New York. But the sad thing is those people leave New York and they go to these states and start to vote in the same types of people or vote for the same type of policies that made them leave in droves from New York. It makes no sense. And I know it's a real concern. DeSantis has brought it up in the past. DeSantis took aim at Mamdani over his now infamous social media post last month in which he stood outside billionaire Ken Griffin's penthouse on 220 Central Park South to promote Governor Hochul's controversial second home tax. DeSantis said, we know the policies that the mayor ran on are not going to be successful, citing the fact that Griffin's giant hedge fund Citadel relocated to Miami from Chicago in 2022 and has significantly boosted the local economy since. Griffin has brought jobs, businesses, all that tax base. He has given probably hundreds of millions of dollars philanthropically to organizations in Florida, which if he wasn't a Florida resident would probably have gone somewhere else. DeSantis added that Zohran Mamdani's video takes it to another level. When you show up in front of somebody's house and target them personally, that's taking it to a point where, is it reasonable to think then maybe they don't want me around anymore? If you wanted to give Realtor of the Year, I would pick anybody. I wouldn't pick anybody in Florida. I would pick mayors in New York and Chicago and some of these governors. They're basically the best ambassadors for Florida that we could have ever asked for. And we've seen it, and people have voted with their feet. Then, just since we're talking about DeSantis, he was asked whether he was open for a 2028 race. He said, who knows? You never know. I'm in my mid-40s, maybe beyond that. I think that there's a lot of runway. I didn't realize he was in his middle 40s. I would have thought maybe a little bit closer to 50. But the Florida governor boasted that when he got elected, registered Democrats outnumbered Republicans by 300,000. Now he said Republicans hold the edge to the tune of 1.5 million. So people leaving in droves, and as he said, Florida is reaping the benefits. Oh, as an update from yesterday, more than 80 organizations and businesses continue to oppose the Packaging Reduction and Recycling Act. We told you about that yesterday. The Business Council's Vice President of Government Affairs said, while we appreciate recent discussions with the sponsors, the breadth of continued business operations makes clear that these recent amendments do not reflect a balanced, consensus-based program, nor does it reflect a compromise with businesses. The bill will impact consumer costs and choice as it imposes significant compliance costs on businesses. All right, anyway, that's enough on that. We got to take another short break. Keep those comments, keep those waves coming in. I think we got just a couple other New York State updates. that I want to mention, some really disturbing ones. Yeah, let's stay with us, and we'll get to as much of it as we possibly can. We'll be right back with Frankly Speaking here on WYDC TV, Big Fox.
More cars, lower prices. Simmons Rockwell. Whether you're in the market for new, used, or certified pre-owned, Simmons Rockwell locations across the Twin Tiers have more of what you're looking for with our best price right on the windshield. Make car buying simple when you drive your deal at a Simmons Rockwell location near you, where you'll always find more cars at lower prices.
This year, WYDC is bringing you 25 New York Mets games free over the air this spring and summer. No fees and no subscription services. Tune into WJKP 48.2 to watch the New York Mets this MLB season. Let's go Mets!
Glassfest Rock the Park, presented by Simmons Rockwell. Friday, May 22nd, it's award-winning country music powerhouse Drake White with soulful country entertainer John King opening. Friday, May 22nd in Riverfront Centennial Park in Corning. Free and open to the public. Brought to you by Simmons Rockwell.
Digital is the fastest growing form of advertising today. And with hyper-targeting, your marketing dollars can be more efficient than ever. Join WYDC and New Logic Marketing for a digital video strategy seminar May 19th and 20th with sessions from 8 to 9 a.m. and 12 to 1 p.m. at the Radisson in Corning. You'll learn what drives results and how to make video a powerful part of your overall marketing strategy. Join us May 19th for an expert look at digital video and learn what works from experts.
The Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back, broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio. Let's go to viewer comments. Rick writes in, good morning, Frank. Good morning, Rick. So now Republican leadership wants a global coalition to guard the Strait of Hormuz. So let me see, before Trump and Trump Jr., Bibi, meaning Benjamin Netanyahu's, war on Iran ships pass through the strait without costing anyone a nickel. So how much will a worldwide coalition of vessels cost the world? Millions? More like billions. So say gas prices go down as a result of this coalition, but we as taxpayers pick up the bill. Anyway, you look at it as Trump's boondoggle is just costing us all this money at the pump or money in federal tax. Excuse me. More likely both. Now I hear Iran is lobbying missiles at U.S. destroyers and commercial ships. Fine job, Trump. Right now, you are the laughing stock of the entire globe. Now, I continue with what Rick had to say here. He said, you, meaning me, had a comment last week that where does it get us if I want to see Trump fail? When in reality, all I'm doing is pointing out that I don't really have to feel that way because Trump doesn't listen to anyone and fails the country and the world quite well all by himself. Latest job approval rating is 65% disapproval. That's horrid. Do I want to see him fail? Yes, I do. Why? Because I don't agree with a darn thing he says or does. He has been lying and ripping off America for the last 11 years. Trump and his mobster family have made billions off of his office. That's wrong. I deserve to feel cynical after all his stupidity. We'll be paying for his term for decades to come, not only financially, but trying to repair the relationship with our allies around the globe. So he does, boils it right down, he does want to see Trump fail. I don't think that comes as a surprise from the comments that he's made. But I think there's a scary part, and not necessarily with what Rick said, but kind of at the beginning. But what we see from the media and what we see from politicians, there seems to be a want for the failure in Iran, not just for Trump to fail. What you're addressing, Rick, I think what I said in the past was, do you want to see him fail in Iran? Do we want to see a loss in Iran? The New York Times journalist said, yes, they do want to see us lose in Iran because otherwise it would be politically beneficial for Trump. I think that's a sad place to be in. Continuing. Good morning, Frank. This is not Rick. Good morning, Frank. If the New York Democrats really cared about affordability, they would reduce the gas tax during the war. I would agree. All right. Oh, yesterday, this is so sad. Vandals spray painted swastikas and Hitler graffiti on Jewish homes in New York and sites in New York City. I bring this up because we can't forget that this anti-Semitism that has run amok is still there, very much prevalent. It's not being reported on as much as when it was being done by college students at like Columbia. At least 4 people spray painted swastikas in red and black on the sides of at least 5 locations across the area. The rabbi for the synagogue, said it was hit by hateful graffiti, calling it very upsetting, and know the synagogue was actually formed by German Jewish refugees who reached the Big Apple to escape Nazism. The rabbi who founded our synagogue was himself a German refugee and dedicated the synagogue to the memory of the synagogues that were destroyed in Germany and the Jews who were murdered for being Jewish. So we see that anti-Semitism still running amok, specifically in the city, but also on college campuses. Well, tying that in, GOP's gubernatorial candidate, friend of Frankly Speaking, Bruce Blakeman, he said a Brooklyn theater should cancel a scheduled performance of a Uzbek singer over reported anti-Israel and anti-Jewish rant. Blakeman, the Republican Party's pick to challenge Governor Hochul in November, called it an outrage that 62-year-old singer, I'm going to try here, Yodols Yusamanova, would be allowed to perform at the Oceana Theater in Brighton Beach on May 9th. Blakeman saying there is no place for hate speech or hate singing for that matter here in Brooklyn or anywhere in New York State or America. This woman is singing and she is performing, but she is a vile person. She's a person filled with hate. She is riddled with anti-Semitism. There's no place for her to perform here in Brooklyn. Now, this comes in reference to Yusamanova first posting on social media back in 2021 when she went on a rant attacking the Jewish state and pledging support for Palestine. Let Israelis and other Jews know we will not leave the Palestinians alone. At a single call, we will all go to help Palestine and fight alongside them against Israel, she wrote at the time. Know this, all who are against Muslims will burn in fire. Know that we will unite. We are with you, dear Palestine. May the Almighty rain all misfortunes upon your heads, Jews. That's what she commented. The comment backfired. Her 2024 performance at the Oceana Theater was canceled after protests over her controversial stance. In recent interview, Yusamova tried to walk back her extremist statements because it started to cost her financially as people weren't attending her show. But Blakeman and the state representatives who joined him outside the Oceana Theater on Monday said the recent comments don't erase the harm the singer has done. We're standing here in Brighton Beach in the heart of one of the largest Jewish communities in the world because something deeply disturbing and wrong is about to take place, and it demands a clear and immediate response. Just tying those two together. All right, we're getting ready to wrap up today's edition of Frankly Speaking, so get your last second comments in, and we will be right back after this.
New York State is putting nearly $60 million towards improving key roadways across the southern tier.
Many older homes are still at risk for exposing residents to high levels of lead.
The Nani Hood Parent Resource Center once again brought the community together for its annual Halloween parade.
Around the southern tier, Finger Lake stands out for its scenery and wine scene. This year's dry drought brought some positives to the crop. Lee Com Center is looking for fans to show up and show out.
When you Carpenters, Phillips, and Flint's, our goal is to always make every family feel like they're at home. Our 3 locations each have their own unique qualities to them, so when a family comes to us at the time of need, we have the options.
Every family we serve is different, and what they're looking for is different. We have to be able to allow the family to tell their story, and everyone's story is unique to them.
Visit carpentersphillipsflint.com to learn more about our family-owned funeral homes.
I'm meteorologist Brandon Weathers. Temperatures will be on the warm side today briefly, then a cold front rolls through, but 75 before that happens. A chance for showers and thunderstorms ahead of the approaching front. It sweeps the area through the evening, and then tonight will still be mild in mid and upper 40s, some low 50s in the warm spots, but by Wednesday, temperatures are below average by about 10 degrees. After that, we're pretty cool the rest of the forecast with
the Frankly Speaking Roof Cam, brought to you by Boss Security in Horseheads. Contact them today for all your business and home security needs. We are back, broadcasting live from the Hesselson studio. Some comments from viewers. Let's repopulate New York State with Canadians. High-income earners and entrepreneurs want to leave Ontario and would be happy to be here in New York. I'm one of them, so I know it's true. Believe it or not, the tax treatment here is better than Ontario. Wow. And the cost of living is more reasonable. And it's warmer than Ontario. So we won't complain. Let's have a chat with Congressman Nick Langworthy about bringing grateful Canadians south. I like it. I think that's a good call. I like that a lot. That's a great comment. Thank you very much. This viewer writes in talking about Rick's comment and says, Rick seems to be bitter with little chance of being able to look beyond that. Ken writes in, a simple observation. If our president fails, our nation fails. I have not been happy about the path that Democrat presidents and some Republican presidents have taken the country. But I have never wanted any president of this great country to fail, since we all fail if they fail. Very well put, Ken. I do appreciate that. Thank you. Now, in a fight for the House, New York may follow Texas in redrawing their maps. Democrats in 3 states are now considering moves to counter a push by Texas Republicans to redraw their states' maps. Excuse me. So to be fighting for democracy, they want to disenfranchise voters and gerrymander. Democrats in the state assembly and Senate will introduce a bill today that would allow New York to redraw its own congressional lines mid-decade instead of every 10 years. Linked to the U.S. Senate if another state does so first. Republicans have made it clear that they will stop at nothing to use the process to advance their political agenda. Last week, that's State Senator Michael Jaranis. Last week, we were hearing how great it was that Hakeem Jeffries gerrymandered all these states, got it all through, and now that they lost that Supreme Court decision, now all of a sudden they're, I know, twisting themselves up into a pretzel. We've been talking about that second house tax. According to Bill Hammond, there's 4 problems with that statewide tax. Firstly, the second home market is most of the state looks nothing like Manhattan or the Hamptons. In the financially distressed cities, such as Rochester and Albany, luxury second homes are virtually non-existent. In vacation destinations such as Lake George, Saratoga Springs, Schenectady, there are a smattering of 5 million plus properties, but it's unclear that these are enough to generate significant revenue. A second problem with the proposal is the high-priced second homes are cash cows for upstate resort areas, not fiscal burdens. Their owners pay the full amount of property taxes, sometimes amounting to hundreds of thousands of dollars per year, while using local government services for only a few weeks or month per year. Third, the concept of that tax glosses over the structural differences between property taxes in New York City and the rest of the state. Because of these complexities, the Wall Street Journal estimated that in 2017, the investor Ken Griffin's $280 million condo would pay an effective property tax rate of 0.22%, while the home owned by a Staten Island garbage collector faced an effective rate of 1.2%. Anyway, we don't have to get into all of that. The fourth and arguably strongest objection to this plan is that it would further add to a tax burden that is one of the heaviest in the U.S. New Yorkers collectively pay 15.9% of their income in state and local taxes, the highest rate of any state, according to the Tax Foundation. They also pay $3,457 per capita in property taxes, which is number 2 only behind New Jersey. All right, that does it for today's edition of Frankly Speaking. Someone's sneaking in a last-minute wave there. We do appreciate it. The viewer also said, Ken said it perfectly. There you go, Ken. Well, have a great day, everyone. Thank you for joining us. We had a lot that we covered this morning, all over the place, and we do appreciate you being a part of the broadcast. Join us every weekday morning starting at 6 for Frankly Speaking, only on WYDC TV Big Fox. We will see you tomorrow morning bright and early. I look forward to it already. Have a great day, everyone.
Get ready for Glass Fest, May 22nd through 24th. Brought to you by Chemung Canal Trust. Experience the magic of live glass blowing. From hands-on fun to incredible sights, there's something for everyone. Explore creations from local artisans. 3 days, one incredible celebration. Brought to you by Corning's Gaffer District. On Friday night, it's Drake White with John King opening. On Saturday, Tracy's A Taylor Experience. Join us for Glass Fest. Brought to you by Simmons Rockwell.